Operation Coronado IX was a riverine military operation conducted by the Mobile Riverine Force of the United States and elements of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam from November 1967 to January 1968 in an attempt to dismantle communist strongholds in the Mekong Delta. In the middle of November, clashes resulted in the capture of communist supplies and hideouts. During this period, the communists lost 178 men but killed only 26. For the next few weeks there was little contact, although some abandoned communist bunkers were destroyed and supplies captured. On the 4th of December, large engagement occurred when a communist battalion encountered a battalion of South Vietnamese Marines. There were 266 Viet Cong killed, mostly by South Vietnamese Marines. The South Vietnamese Marines lost 40 killed, while the Americans suffered 9 dead. Over the next month and the Christmas period, there was only sporadic skirmishes, but at the start of the new year, there were some medium-sized battles in which the Americans killed a few dozen communists. After this there was little contact. First phase. It began with the movement of the Mobile Riverine base from its late October anchorage off Vung Tau to an anchorage in the Mobile River near Thong Tam Base Camp. The series of actions in the operation was primarily conducted north of the Mobile River and directed against communist bases in During province. The Mobile Riverine Force arrived off Dong Tam on the 1st of November 1967 and during early November concentrated on equipment maintenance and preparations for coming operations. The 3D Battalion, 60th U.S. Infantry Regiment, disembarked and assumed the defense mission for Dong Tam Base. The battalion's waterborne replacement was the 3D Battalion, 47th U.S. Infantry Regiment, which began tactical operations in the southeastern part of Gio Duc District in western During province at 1500 on the 2nd of November. During the 9-hour operation, the battalion destroyed 141 communist bunkers and evacuated 500 kilograms of rice and an assortment of Viet Cong engineering and medical materials. From the cache, the evacuated materials were delivered to During province headquarters for distribution within South Vietnamese government programs. On 5 and 6 November, the two Americans operated in Cam Son Secret Zone. Barge-mounted artillery supported infantry from a position on the north shore of the Mobile River. During this operation the Mobile Riverine Force destroyed 34 bunkers, captured 360 kilograms of rice and 55 kilograms of salt, and killed 5 communists. The Americans were joined by the 5th Battalion of the Republic of Vietnam Marine Corps at a shore camp near My Tho on the 6th of November, yielding a 3rd anti-communist battalion. The South Vietnamese Marine Battalion had 4 rifle companies and a heavy weapons company, a strength equal to that of the 2 embarked American battalions. The Americans said that the South Vietnamese Marines brought a special esprit to the Mobile Riverine Force and fought extremely well throughout the operation, under the leadership of a Major Nam, who joined the Americans in the planning of the operation. The U.S. Navy assault craft, Army, artillery, and Air Force planes supported 3 infantry battalions. After a short time used for training and maintenance, the Mobile Riverine Force and the South Vietnamese Marines resumed Coronado IX on the 9th of November, targeting the 263d and 514th Viet Cong battalions in the Cam Son area. while the U.S. 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry, and the 5th Republic of Vietnam Marine Battalion made beach assaults early on the 9th of November. The 4th Battalion, 47th Infantry, which had been moved by ATC to the Dong Tam airstrip, and then in a series of helicopter lifts entered the area of operations to become the 4th Anti-Communist Battalion in action. All landings of anti-communist forces were unopposed and they saw few Viet Cong. On the second day the search for communist forces shifted to the east. Troops were moved by boat and helicopter into the Ban Long and the Ap Bac base areas. Only the South Vietnamese Marine Battalion, which remained in its original location, saw action, killing 7 communists. On the 14th of November, to increase security for Highway 4 and the Dong Tam base area, a new operation began, with support from American artillery at Dong Tam, while the 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry, remained at the Mobile Riverine base for maintenance. The other battalions were transported by boat and helicopter to the north along the Kinh Giang Canal east of Dong Tam base. The 5th Republic of Vietnam Marine Battalion and the 4th Battalion, 47th U.S. Infantry, destroyed 63 bunkers and seized 900 kilograms of rice and 90 kilograms of salt. This operation continued through the night. Platoon-sized ambush patrols were sent out along Highway 4 north of Dong Tam but could not intercept many communists. On the 16th of November the Mobile Riverine Force began operations with the 3D Brigade, 9th U.S. Division, and elements of both the 7th Division and 9th ARVN Divisions along the border of Quien Phong and Din Tuong provinces. The anti-communists targeted the 502d Local Force and 267th Main Force Viet Cong battalions, which 4th Corps and 2 Field Force Intelligence predicted were in base area 470. Troops of the 3D Brigade were landed by helicopter in the northern part of the area along with the 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry, which was initially under the control of the 3D Brigade. Since base area 470 lacked firm ground needed for artillery fire support bases, and artillery positioned along Highway 4 could not reach the area, experimental artillery firing platforms were used. One platform accommodated an M102 105 mm artillery piece, ammunition, and space for the crews to operate. The legs of the platform were adjustable to various heights and a large metal foot on the bottom of each leg provided support in the muddy rice paddies. SEH-47 helicopter carried the platform, artillery piece, ammunition, and crew to their operational locations in 4 lifts. One battery of 105 mm artillery was used throughout the operation. On the second night of the 3D Brigade's operations, the 17th of November, the Viet Cong attacked one of the brigade's fire support bases. The attack was repulsed several hours before the Mobile Riverine Force entered the operational area off the My Tho River on the Ray Trong Canal. To allow the Mobile Riverine Force to enter the operational area, 4th Corps South Vietnamese engineers, who were accompanying the assault forces early on the morning of the 18th of November, had to remove the center span of the bridge on the Ray Trong Canal. Before the bridge span was removed, a barge-mounted artillery fire support base was set up so that the artillery could fire on any communist troops encountered by the engineers. A 155 mm fire support base was also established on Highway 4, 6 kilometers east of the bridge. For better control, the Mobile Riverine base was moved upstream from Dong Tam to an anchorage near Sa Dec. while the 5th Republic of Vietnam Marine Battalion conducted riverine assaults in the southern portions of the area. The 4th Battalion, 47th U.S. Infantry Regiment landed troops by helicopter in the north. Early on the 18th of November, both battalions encountered the Communists. The Mobile Riverine Force killed 45 Communists, nearly half of these by helicopter gunships, and a large medical cache was uncovered. The Mobile Riverine Force, in contrast, had only 4 injured. Total losses for anti-communist forces were 26 killed and 155 wounded, while the Viet Cong suffered 178 killed and had 33 taken prisoner. Second phase. Following a period at Dong Tam for rest and maintenance, the force returned to Cam Sun Base area on the 23rd of November. After the first air attack, an American B-52 strike in the heavily populated During province, the 3 anti-communist battalions entered the area by riverine assault craft. Few Viet Cong were found and 8 were killed. Several caches were discovered. During 27 to 30 November, operations were conducted to clear Communists from the Kin Sang Canal, which runs northwest alongside Dong Tam. Company D, 15th U.S. Engineer Battalion, removed all water blocks along the canal while the Maneuver Battalion searched the APBAC base area. 5 Viet Cong were killed and 2 taken prisoner. 4 major blocks were removed from the canal and 62 bunkers were destroyed. The opening of the upper reaches of the canal permitted the Mobile Riverine Force to use assault craft to attack the Communist base in APBAC. On the 4th of December, the Mobile Riverine base moved to Sardec, and the 3D and 4th Battalions of the 47th U.S. Infantry Regiment, along with the 5th South Vietnamese Marine Battalion, began operations to find and destroy elements of the 267th Main Force and 502d Local Force Viet Cong battalions in western Din Tuong and eastern Quien Phong provinces. The battle that ensued on 4–5 December was one of the biggest during the Operation Coronado series. Early on the 4th of December, anti-communist forces encountered major elements of the 502d Local Force Viet Cong battalion in a fortified base on the west bank of the Ray Trong Canal. The Communists attacked the boats with rockets and automatic weapons, and the South Vietnamese Marine Battalion chose to disembark to the north of the Viet Cong position. Shortly afterward, the 3D Battalion, 47th U.S. Infantry landed south of the Communists. The fighting was intense, and Colonel David directed the 4th Battalion, 47th U.S. Infantry, which was at a pickup zone, to land west of the Communists. In mid-afternoon, the South Vietnamese Marines made a frontal assault and overran the Viet Cong's major bunker complex, supported by U.S. helicopters. To the south, the 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry, encountered resistance from scattered Communist bunkers that prevented it from linking with the Vietnamese Marines. There were 266 Viet Cong killed, mostly by South Vietnamese Marines. The South Vietnamese Marines lost 40 killed and 107 wounded, while the Americans suffered 9 dead and 89 wounded. The assault craft were able to land the Marines with light casualties on the 4th of December, mainly due to a flamethrower aboard one of the armored troop carriers. A vehicle with a flamethrower had been driven aboard an ATC and fired on targets as required. The Americans believed that the flamethrower had a psychological effect on the men in the Communist bunkers. On the 6th of December, the Mobile Riverine base moved to an anchorage on the Mekong River north of Vinh Long. After 3 days of local operations and maintenance work, during which new fire support bases were established to support record of forthcoming operations. The Mobile Riverine Force undertook operations in the southern part of Kaibi District and in the western part of During Province against local Viet Cong guerrillas and their installations. Initial landings were made from ATCs, but later in the first day of operations, troops were brought in by helicopter. Very few communists were found. On the 14th of December, the Mobile Riverine Force again searched for the Viet Cong in Cam Sun. The Americans made assaults by boat in the southern portion of the base, followed by helicopter landings by the 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry. It was not until the last day of the operation that the Viet Cong were discovered, and 9 of them were killed. On the 17th of December, the Mobile Riverine base moved to Dong Tam to allow the Mobile Riverine Force to land troops from the 2 barracks ships. By the afternoon of the 18th of December, the American Brigade and 1 battalion had moved ashore to Dong Tam. The US Colleton left Vietnam to refit at Subic Bay in the Philippines, and the US Ben were moved to Vung Tau on the coast near Saigon to refit. At this time, the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry replaced the 4th Battalion, 47th Infantry, as part of the Mobile Riverine Force, and the 4th Battalion assumed the Dong Tam defense mission. On the 19th of December, a 2-battalion operation was initiated in northern Kailai District, while a 3rd Battalion operated near Dong Tam. On the night of the 19th of December, 2 companies of the 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry, landed along the Kin Sang Canal to set up ambushes. The other 2 battalions of the Mobile Riverine Force were landed by assault craft in the northern Apbac area. Effective artillery coverage was provided by the barge-mounted artillery and battery C-2D Battalion, 35th Artillery. This operation covered most of the north-central part of During Province and used both helicopters and boats to bring in troops. The Americans found few communists, killing 11. Navigability of the Kin Sang Canal was improved during the process when engineers removed a major canal obstruction. The operation was concluded late on the 22nd of December, and the Mobile Riverine Force returned to base to conduct maintenance and prepare for Christmas. Truce operations. Christmas period. The Mobile Riverine Force was instructed that only defensive actions should be taken during Christmas period, and that they could fire on groups of communist soldiers who seemed to be trying to breed contact, or who were more than platoon size in number. The truce ran for 24 hours starting from 1800 on the 24th of December. Prior to 1800 on the 24th, 1 Mobile Riverine Force battalion moved to each of the 2 areas where saturation patrols were to be conducted. The 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry, moved to Long Dinh District, while to the southeast the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, moved into northern Kien Hoa Province. During the truce period, there was occasional sniper and harassing fire from the communists. The Mobile Riverine Force's next operation was in Kailai District of During Province. On the 28th of December, the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, landed by aircraft and waterborne craft approximately 11 kilometers west of Dong Tam. It conducted operations directed westward toward Kaibi, with supporting fire from barge artillery batteries located to its south along the north shore of the Maithao River. Few communists were seen during the operation. Monitors and assault support patrol boats provided surveillance of inland waterways. On the 29th of December, the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, continued operations to the west toward Kaibi, while the 4th Battalion, 47th Infantry, remained in the same area and destroyed 85 bunkers and captured 2 Viet Cong. During the day, the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, found only a few communists and concluded its operations in Kailai District. On the 30th of December, the 4th Battalion, 47th Infantry, was moved from Gyeonho north and across the Maitho River to assist the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry to continue operations in Kaibi and Kailai districts. Although troops were shifted by boat, the battalions could not find large groups of Viet Cong. On the following day, both battalions went into positions where they stayed until the end of the New Year's truce at 06:00 on the 1st of January 1968. In groups of platoon and company size, the battalions were dispersed to prevent the Communists from using important communication lines during the truce period. Following the truce period, the units arrived in Dong Tam on the afternoon of the 2nd of January. New Year. The next major mission of the Mobile Riverine Force was an outing in eastern Vinh Long Province. On the 7th of January, the battalions landed by air and water but found no Communists until mid-afternoon, when a company of the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, came under heavy automatic weapons and small arms fire from an estimated 2 platoons of Communists. Artillery support and air strikes were called in on the Viet Cong, who were firing from well-prepared, concealed positions. By the end of the encounter, late on the 7th of January, 2 more companies of the 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, were engaged. The Americans killed 28 Communists and captured 3 weapons. The Mobile Riverine Force concluded the operation on the 8th of January, killing 2 more Communists, and returned to the Riverine base late that afternoon. The Americans then targeted the 261st Main Force Viet Cong Battalion in Kai Bi District, in western Dinh Tuong Province. On the 10th of January, assault craft and helicopters landed the 4th Battalion, 47th Infantry, and 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, and by mid-afternoon, Company A, 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, was in heavy combat, sustaining moderate casualties after being landed in a Communist area. Company E was flown in to support Company A as heavy fighting continued. The following day, fighting was sporadic. Over the 2 days, the Americans killed 47 while losing 18 and suffering 50 wounded, most during the landing when they were caught out by the Communists' well-prepared, camouflaged positions. On the 12th of January, an operation was conducted in conjunction with the 3D Brigade in Bin Phoc district of Long An Province. The 3D Battalion, 60th Infantry, and 4th Battalion, 47th Infantry, moved by boat along the Cho Cao Canal to assigned beaches. Upon landing, American troops met heavy Communist rocket and automatic weapons fire but killed 7 Viet Cong. The rest quickly escaped and there was no further fighting during the 2-day operation. On the 14th of January, the 2D Brigade embarked on the Us Benua and was followed aboard on 21-22 January by the rest of the Mobile Riverine Force. A cordon was set up around the village of An Quoy near Dong Tam by the 3D Battalion, 47th Infantry, which had the day before relieved the 4th Battalion, 47th Infantry in the Mobile Riverine Force. The cordon operation was unsuccessful in capturing or kill guerrillas, ending Operation Coronado IX.